Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's Next Super Stock Livestream, February 15th. We are back with NuRAN Wireless, NRRWF over the counter, NUR on the CSC. Francis Letourneau, the CEO. Francis, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So, Francis, for anybody that's brand new to our program, our goal with Wall Street Reporter's Next Super Stock is to bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. So these are all companies which have three things in common. They're going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. They're at a key inflection point right now, and there are multiple catalysts in place which can ignite that increase in shareholder value. And we've had already 9 stocks in the last 18 months that have increased between 1,100% and 5,000%, so 10x to 50x. And we're going to find out if NuRAN is going to join that great pantheon of 10-bagger stocks. So please, guys, ask your questions and then decide for yourself if NuRAN is going to be that next 10x. So with that said, Francis, congratulations on the recent news. You get things looks like they're really starting to take off with the wireless deployments in Africa.
Yes. So we launched a news yesterday that was not only to show progress, but also to establish the bar to where we stand today in terms of bill of quantity or inventory in country in order to continue to build of those sites. Everything is in country or in custom clearance as we speak to build 120 telecom sites per country in Cameroon and DRC. For your audience, a site for us is the tower, the power system, the radio system. So everything that makes those beautiful telephones connect to the rest of the world. So this is the motto of NuRAN, connecting Africa and the emerging markets.
So what we should do is, for anybody that's new to the story, we always have new people watching. Can you just give a snapshot of the market opportunity that you're going after? What is NuRAN all about? Let's talk a little bit about Africa, why this is such an exciting opportunity.
It is a massive opportunity. I was running some numbers recently just to give you an example. Sub-Saharan Africa and Latin America, there's close to 800 million people living in rural areas. And I would say some are connected, some not. If we take just the assumption that 50% needs connectivity, because when you look at the global world, I would say opportunity, there's 1 billion people that still do not have mobile connectivity. So having in their village, in their houses, a connection to the rest of the network. So there's 1 billion of those still not connected in those two continents. So you have 800,000 people, million people living in rural areas. Take 50% of them who needs connectivity, and then divide them by, on average, 5,000 people per village. And then the base of our business model is driving $2,000 of revenue per site per month. So it's an opportunity of yearly revenue, globally speaking, just in those two continents, of close to 2 billion in revenue potential for players like us in this industry. Okay. So it's amazing. It's close to 80,000 towers that will need to be built to cover those areas.
Okay, so it's a massive opportunity. Africa, of course, is there's very few pure plays in terms of the stock market. Like in Africa, it's massive growing market. Everybody wants to get in there. The important part is this: you have contracts in place right now. So basically, it's not like we need to be very clear that this is not like some, startup thing where, somebody has a concept and they're going to go out and, they're going to try. And no, you actually have contracts in place with a blue chip, telecom company, which is Orange of France, which is like, the US version of, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, what have you. You have existing contracts, and this is for right now, it's potentially 10,000 towers,
So
or it's
the
25.
10,000 site, the 10,000
10,000
site,
sites.
Jack, is the objective of the company, but currently under contract, committed close to 2,500 sites.
Okay, I think so. I think the number is 2492. Again, I don't want people to
Exact amount,
use this of
exactly.
exaggeration. So it's 2492. Each of these sites is expected to generate about $2,000 per month for NuRAN. Okay, so this is a contract. They give you this contract, but is that a minimum? I think that's actually a minimum, right?
Now, this is on average the calculation we're getting from the current usage and in a prospective mode. So bottom line, our financial model accounts for a 25%, 25% penetration rate. It's a user connected to your network. So it's the volume of people divided by the population. And we are currently just in Cameroon achieving 45%. So it's way higher than what we expected.
You're getting basically double what was expected.
We don't at this stage, yes. Plus, there's another factor which is called the ARPU. ARPU is average revenue per user. Okay, right now the ARPU is not at the level that we would expect. Just in Cameroon, for example, our average ARPU. That, by the way, we did not invent it. We have received the information coming from Orange itself, and the average ARPU for Cameroon is $2.67. So we are at $1 now. So 45% penetration rate and $2.67 ARPU would probably crank up the average revenue per site up to $4,000, something like this. But on average, our financial model accounts for something on average around $2,000 per site per month.
Okay.
So if you do rough math, right now, if we aim to do the 10,000 site, we will be a $250 million company. And because of the fact that we don't need this large overhead like the mobile network operator have, we will be generating 50% EBITDA, so $125 million. And the cool thing, and by the way, that's Canadian dollar, but you can reverse the math. But we're looking for a potential valuation based on peers or comparable. And comparable are the towercos, and towercos trade between 8 and 29 times EBITDA yearly. So we do not think that we will be at 29, but if we just take the bare minimum, which is 8 times 125, so we're close to $1 billion valuation once everything has been delivered. But of course, we're on this run rate. It's going well. We continue to execute. We're building the financing to support those builds because it's massively demanding in terms of cash, in terms of capital expenditure to build those infrastructure. So we're in the middle of those activities now with the different banks and development banks around the world.
Okay, so it's very interesting. So really, once you have these 10,000 towers up,
yes,
that's potentially the company's worth $1 billion. Now, how many shares outstanding do you have currently?
32 million shares outstanding, trading at $1.30 something cents today.
Okay.
So if you make the same math, we have a market cap of 44 million, I think.
Yes, I'm assuming that the share price, the share count is going to double next few years. So let's say you get to 50 million shares at $1 billion valuation. That's $20 a share is the upside. That's the upside.
And the cool thing about this, Jack, is that we're trying to prevent dilution as much as possible. We have created a financial structure that allow us to raise capital at the private level. So we are creating a NuRAN Africa holding company that will be bringing all the cash necessary to build those infrastructure. 75% plus will be coming from debt. from different organizations like development financial institution, DFIs or IFIs, and we will bring equity at this level. And the cool thing about bringing equity at the private level, it's less dilution, and because of the valuation, you give a smaller stake of the company for larger checks. So that's the reason why we've built it that way.
Okay. So, but again, it's very okay. So the upside essentially is 20 bucks a share once you get these 10,000 towers. And again, that's not the end of the NuRAN store, because that's the 10,000 is just, the near term target that you have. Potentially, you talk about some big, but this, I think this is enough for now. And I think you can get there. You said by the next 3 years, 4 years.
No, it's fine. It's a 5-year plan. By 2026, we should be around 10,000 site. But bottom
that's 4
line,
years from now.
this is an objective that we've given ourselves. But just look at the scope of what it needs to cover the rest of sub-Saharan Africa and Latin America. There's 80,000 towers. So it will mean that we get 15, 17% of the total scope. Let's say we do 30%. So we would then be close to 25,000 tower, right? So we don't know yet. We've set an objective of 10,000, but of course, once the trend has started, the demand will be there, and there will be more and more of those opportunity kicking in. Now we're talking to MTN, Vodafone, Orange, Airtel, the big four in Africa, but soon in Latin America will be América Móvil, Telefonica, even AT&T that is currently operating in Mexico. So a lot of massive player to cover the rural area for them.
Okay, so essentially, it's very similar. Okay, so the NuRAN story is very similar to the previous guest we had on, which was also they were going after massive opportunity. They have contracts in place. They already have. It's like a SaaS. They have a SaaS model in the health tech space. You have a NAS, network as a service, right? Network as a service model in the wireless and telecom space. Very similar. And again, so people are asking, why is that stock? I mean, both of these companies, you're based on the contracts you have, it's just a question of, so people, I guess I think most people are asking, okay, so why is the stock only $1.30 and not, $10 right now? I guess because people are not 100% certain that you're going to get there. So what we have to do is essentially remove that uncertainty from the market by explaining that, that there is a very clear path to get there, and you're progressing on that path. So based on, which is again, this to the point is your news in the 3 markets that you're in now, which is with the Cameroon, the Republic of, was it the official name is Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC.
Congo.
And then you got North Sudan. So you have a lot of how many countries? There's 80 countries in Africa. I think there's like 80 countries.
I know. I think it's 56. If I
56. There's a lot of countries. Yeah. So vast population. I think it's like 1 billion population. Huge opportunity. So you have this contract. So right now, the goal is to get to just with Orange is the 2,500 towers, we'll call it, the next few years. How many towers do you have right now?
Right now I will tell you right away, it's 57 as NAS, but we also have 7 more that we are operating in Ghana for Vodafone. But those were financed by GSMA in a program called Innovation Fund, where NuRAN got awarded for this. So we're still operating this network, hopefully extending a bit on Ghana with Vodafone, getting more of those sites live under network as a service. I'm in discussion with the team at Vodafone already.
Okay, so essentially, we're kind of in the early stage of going towards the full contract. So it's just a question of time, and we're going to be. I think the main thing here is that I think investors want to see that steady flow of updates on deployments. Like, okay, we got 100 towers this week, whatever the numbers are. But once they start seeing that, then this 2,500 towers, which is right now it's So the contract with Orange is 5 million per month. So let's call it 60 million. So that alone is worth, what is it, like 600 million, based on the market comps.
Yes.
So that's still, it's $20 a share.
If you tell me. So
Yeah.
let's
Based on the share count today.
see
Based
if
on the
the
share count
market
today.
if the market follows you there.
Yeah, based on the share count today. So,
Exactly.
all right, so let's get to some audience questions here. Samantha's asking, Francis, congrats. Can you touch on the time frame for which you will be able to keep the assets? In other words, when you put up the towers, because you talked about kind of the model, how that works, what the numbers look like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So those are really good points in those questions. First of all, part of the contract that we have in place with both Orange and MTN for the three countries, we have a transfer of asset planned in the course of the contract. So it's 10 years contract, and where we share revenue coming from the end user, and we bill a monthly guaranteed minimum monthly that covers our OPEX, our capital repayment, as well as interest. And this is in view to transfer the asset. This is the only bankable contract of such companies out there on the market. That's the reason for transferring the asset. For Cameroon, we're transferring assets after 6 years, DRC 5, and South Sudan will be 7, 8. This is how the contract is built. Will it be like this for all the contracts we do? Maybe not, because more and more people are asking us to extend our contract period. Plus, they would like us to keep the asset, especially the equity player. Because if you keep the asset, then it's more value and so forth. Because you also need to predict what's next, what's after the 10 years. So there are debates and discussion as we speak on that front. But in order to be able to debt finance those contracts ahead of time without massive numbers to announce, like I don't know, 200, 300, 400 site live, generating X amount of revenue sustained. So until you reach that stage, you need to have more less risky type contract for the banks. So hence the reason why we've built it that way.
Okay. And so basically the technology in 10 years is probably going to be obsolete, right? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be obsolete in 10 years.
Yeah, but there are mechanisms in the contract to move to 3G, potentially 4G. I doubt that you will see 5G in those regions, but of course there are G's evolution planned already in the contract. So just to give you an example, for Orange Cameroon, we're already planning pilots this summer with them for a couple of sites to run on 3G and 4G. And some will be running on satellite, some will be running on terrestrial backhauling. Backhauling is the connection between the site, the tower of the site, and the rest of the network. So we're already planning trials of 3G and 4G this summer with Cameroon, and probably the next wave will maybe see half of its site being populated with 3G on top of the tower. And
Okay.
that's it. That is easy because we just launched our 2G, 3G, 4G box that allow us to switch remotely from 2G to 3G to 4G, which is fantastically cool because you don't need to go back to the site. It reduces the cost. It increases the reliability. So we're pretty pleased with what's coming. So that's why we're ready now. And that's another reason why we are extremely big on Latin America as we speak, because 2G is not as powerfully used as in Africa, because the 3G is the definite 3G and 4G are definitely enforced in Latin America. 2G is less than basic service in Latin America compared to Africa. Africa has this challenge, those challenges, battery, so energy, access, the money available to spend on telephony, and so forth. So that's why 2G is still on top of the list for sub-Saharan Africa, whereas Latin America will be slightly different.
Okay. I think also, I think maybe in the back of some people's heads, they'll think, okay, if these guys, have to, give back the tower in 10 years or whatever it is, like, what is, what's the value here and whatever. But look, the reality of it is that even if, now you may not have to give it back, because ultimately they want that network as a service. Like Orange or these companies, they don't want to operate these towers. They're not in that business, right? So
they want to leverage the asset, Jack,
right.
but they don't want to manage them. So
Right.
of course we have a way to flip the asset back to the operator, but we will continue the management of this. And by the way, building that expertise and knowledge in country will also allow you to sell high and to the left to
This
others,
is okay.
right?
So this is the key thing. So people need to understand, like, in any type of really high growth business, the real value is, sure, you have the asset right now, but really it's the intellectual capital, the brand, everything else, which is the company's core competency. Is that you're going to be. This is 10 years from now. I mean, you're going to be constantly expanding, putting out new locations, building out the company's NuRAN's reputation, growing. I mean, you might get into whole. I mean, 5 years from now, the company might look completely different than it is today. It's like any tech company, there's a massive evolution. What matters is the DNA of the company, which is the core competency, the expertise, the intellectual capital. That's the real value. And of course, so I wouldn't be worried what happens 10 years from now, because you're going to see, I think, in 3 years, and Francis, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say 2-3 years from now, you're constantly going to be adding new markets, new towers. So it's a rolling type of thing. So in 9 years you may have 20,000 sites which have that. So it's going to be constantly. It's a rolling type of thing, and it's unlimited.
Additional service, Jack. It's already on the table. But I said let's concentrate on what we're doing now. Once we are grown up and we have more expertise behind us, then we will aim after something. But Orange Cameroon is already asking us to do more. Can you manage those sites? Can you take this? Can you? So no, guys. So we'll go straight there. We'll get our expertise rock solid, and then we can expand. Just the managed service of satellite. We can serve other customers as well, because we will have the infrastructure in place. So yes, there will be a lot of new services that will come. Part of our current business model, there's nothing accounted for this as we speak, but in the upcoming months, where we will be driving our strategic positioning for the next couple of years, we will soon get more demand on this thing. And FYI, the South Sudanese contract take that into account already. They gave us 58 towers that was destroyed, so they said, it's ours, but can you take over, put your technology in there and manage it in a fixed OPEX mode? So we're already being asked those questions. So yes, the revenue from the revenue share type structure, $2,000 plus on a monthly basis, though this is the basics of our business, but this is going to go really high once we reach a good level of expertise, and we are recognized as such, as the leader in managed service in rural. I think we're going to get there sooner than later.
Okay, so we're gonna get into some more questions, but okay, so you mentioned potentially other services. Again, the core value, I think, of NuRAN is it's the expertise, the intellectual capital. So the towers is just one part of the story, because again, like a lot of great companies, they start off with one area, but then they expand, they build on that, and all of a sudden it's a completely transformed business.
Actually, yes.
I mean, like again, so what other services could you potentially add on to? You said that Orange has asked you to do more stuff. Like, what other things can you do?
First of all, for ourselves, we're implementing a network operating center, a NOC. That NOC is for monitoring and reporting on the network. Once you have this in place, you can serve a lot of other customers that don't have such service. First, second thing, you will have team on the ground doing operational and maintenance on those sites. Doing it for other sites of other operator, you can do as well. It's the same team. So why don't you maximize the usage of those person? On top of this, you also have what's called what they call managed service for VSAT. We are with our partners implementing a teleport, a hub. And this teleport only today serves NuRAN. Why don't you expand and sell bandwidth to other clients, government, mining, other MNOs, and so forth? So you can expand on those revenue. But right now in the financial model, there's nothing as such. I've given the mandate to somebody internally to look at the different variants of revenue stream that we can bring from those operations, and it's an ongoing just going to the site themselves, Jack. We could put an internet cafe. We could also bring internet to schools and dealing with government to pay for this service. So there's so much that could be done. Once you get there, you're first, and being first, you can expand on a lot of different services that you can give to the community, but also to other potential customer in country.
Yeah, so this is very important. So being, having your foot in the door, not even in the door, you're already on the ground. Being there is a massive advantage because, first of all, how many other, I don't think people realize how difficult it is to do, business in these rural areas in the developing world. I mean, it's not easy. So
it
when somebody
is,
actually,
it is, and it is not, Jack.
right.
Okay, because people have a lot of fear. This is Africa. This is not safe. This is this and this and that. What is tough is to get to the site. Really,
Right.
Once you get there, people are like, welcome, guys. What do you want to put your tower here? What can we do for you to make it happen? So, it's really the toughest piece is all the logistic behind to bring this big infrastructure to a place where you have no roads or almost zero roads. And in the course of the transportation, you hit a recent flood and you can't cross the new creek that has been forged on the way there. So this is what is tough about that. And
but
course,
that adds value. You see, what I'm saying is this really adds value to
we're
NuRAN
creating an expertise, exactly.
Because it's now you have this. There's a real moat there because it's not like anybody can set up a tower in New Jersey or whatever it is. That's like everybody and their brother-in-law wants to do that.
Mm.
But when you're in this other area, you really have like a monopoly almost. It's not really a monopoly, but you have a very, very strong.
It is a monopoly,
franchise.
Actually.
It actually is a monopoly. It's a contract. Technically, it is. So, and again, this is going to be the biggest growth market. Africa is that's like the last frontier, last big growth opportunity. 20 years ago, China was the big, market opportunity, right? Now it's Africa is the last. There's no other place to go. Maybe Latin America a little bit, but this is the big thing. So let's get to some audience questions here.
Yes.
Okay, so Scott's asking, is there any information you can provide regarding the acceleration of towers going up? Have there been any recent delays?
So if you have looked at the press release we did on Monday, I on purpose put the slides that were presented to Orange during the steering committee that we did last week with Orange in Paris. You will see in the graphs, especially the one on the left-hand side, where it stands in terms of where each component of a site stand. Are they delivered in warehouse, in transit, or they're still stock at custom clearance? So I have put everything there just for you to have a clear path forward of where it stands. And in both countries, there's batches of equipment that goes there to build 120 sites each, okay, which are considered batch one for both countries. So accelerating the pace, this is not the problem, my friend. The problem is having all of those things cleared up. If you look at Cameroon itself, Cameroon, we've been able to deliver 30 sites in the last month. So it means that 120 sites could be done with a handful of team on the ground. We can build 120 sites within 4 months. So it's not that complicated. We can probably accelerate the pace by putting additional team. But the key factor that you also need to know, it's not a matter of not being fast enough, because building a tower takes 3 days. It's not 2 weeks. It takes 3 days to do it. But once you have the equipment in place, you load your thing at the warehouse, you go to a cluster and deploy a couple of sites, then you see site 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, POC, and then you have a delay. The teams are coming back to the warehousing, they're packing up again, and they're leaving, and then talk, 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 talk. In DRC, we have 3 subcontractors selected. Only one of them have received PO up to now, but of course, even if we are sending POs to the others, the stock has not been cleared yet, so it will be tough for us to go and do. By the way, the status, the email, the PR status is as of January 31st. I don't have the final status, but especially in Cameroon, thing got the batteries got cleared, I think. So we will be running on a faster pace there. But seriously, we're it's not because of the tough condition or something like this. It's really to get those things cleared from custom and everything.
Okay.
Yes, Ben.
So that's the answer is yes.
They could. But if you do this, then it's a different setup. What your customer then become the regulator. You know, in Canada, we have what's called Industry Canada that give the license of operating mobile network, right? And their clients are, or their license partner are Bell, Videotron, TELUS, Rogers, and whatever. Okay. If we want to do this, our technology is capable of, by the way, we could do that. But it's at the entry a riskier business. Why? Because you need to deal with the regulator. Right now, dealing straight with a mobile network operator, it means that you have a contract in place and you have a real path forward to bring back revenue. When you build and they will come, like the Kevin Costner movie, when you build and they will come, it's a different story. You need
That's
to
a
build
speculation.
it,
That's a speculative model.
and you need to sign capacity lease with the operator. So it's a different story, but definitely our technology is there, and the DFIs are big on this thing as well. So we might do some of those contracts in the future, but I don't see it for the next year and a half minimum. I think that just the multiple tenant, like the Tower Co, will definitely occur maybe end of 2023, 2024 in smaller countries, I would say.
Francis, I have a question. So, a lot of companies like yours, they start off and they evolve, they transform, as revenues start coming in. Let's say, a couple months from now, or a year from now, the market cap of NuRAN is, let's call it, I don't know, 200 million. The stocks are doing well. You got revenues coming in. Are there any strategic acquisitions out there that you're looking at, or that would be, on the table?
I'm smiling. So would, could, should, might, shall. The answer is yes. Of course, being a publicly traded company, you're always looking after opportunities to grow faster and to give you the leverage that you need to go faster. So there are definitely something that we are thinking of as even at this time, but no processes has started yet.
Okay. No, because, I ask because, look, I think once, you have like a business model, you have a company that has something very unique, you have a management team that's able to execute, the company can evolve in really dramatic ways. And all of a sudden they can go from, a small tower operator to be, a massive telecom company. I mean, like, look, back in the, I'll give you, there've been many examples of this, but I'll give you a crazy example, which was, there was a company that started off in the, they owned parking garages and funeral homes, right? And that became Time Warner, the massive, media company. We own movie studios, and that became AOL, New York's massive, multi, I don't know, $100 billion market cap. So, but they did it through acquisitions, and they bought. It was that's a little bit
everything
different.
is possible.
Yeah.
Vertical integration, like buying some of your suppliers to reach a lower costing. That could be vertical, horizontal integration. People that do exactly the same thing as we do, but we just
Other
acquire
markets,
some. And then acquiring something that has a complementarity to what we're doing. So there's a lot we can do. By the way, this question about the tower codes, I like them.
So can you talk about partnerships with other? You have partnerships with other companies?
We had, and we're still in discussion with them. You have to know that these guys are giants, so they're slow movers. IHS is extremely active in Nigeria. I've got a couple of friends there. We're still in discussion. FYI, something you need to know. Not this RFP that we are currently bidding on with MTN, but the previous one, we were quoting on rural MTN RFP with IHS and American Tower. The two of them, we were the technology supplier behind. And because they did not know how to do rural, we were also providing in the mix tower, power, and everything that has to do with backhaul connectivity. And so that's probably what breaks them from going faster. They don't want to go to be in a licensing mode situation in the country. They want to stick to what they're good at, real estate. So they want to build infrastructure. So soon, I don't see them doing much on the rural network as a service type business. And one of the reason being that most of the network operator wants to bring back the assets at some point, and these guys are saying absolutely not. But they could be a good big brother for us.
Okay. Question about okay, are you doing an uplisting in Europe?
Of course. So I was in Europe last week, and if there's something that we have seen, of course, COVID is blocking us at home. You don't see much, but out there, the understanding of the African fact and the what we're doing, telecom, building infrastructure, helping emerging markets, it's big in Europe. ESG, it's really, these guys are bang on to do those things. So Jim and I have said, look, we're starting the process. It will take what it takes, but definitely we would like to get to a listing in London or a higher listing in Frankfurt. It's still not yet defined. For sure, we're going to have a stop in London, because and especially the IFIs that we've met as well, they don't like the IFIs is the big international fund with whom we're discussing with for the equity piece at the private level. But these guys could probably take a stake in the company as in a private company, but should the company be public in Europe. So it's a definite go for us. We will start the process soon, and we will keep everybody's updated of what's going on there.
Yeah, because I think in Europe, I mean, France for sure is very close ties with Africa. I mean, historically, they understand the market opportunity in London also. Like they understand emerging markets, infrastructure. This is like, I think that would probably just, I mean, that would probably double the value. I mean, just because much, the European investors understand this business much more than US or Canada. I mean, it's like,
but US, when we start tapping into Latin America, Jack, it will be a different story. I will tell you.
Yeah, it's a little closer.
Close a deal with Carlos Slim's business, America Mobile, Claro in Brazil, and having a market cap around 200, 250, then why not NASDAQ? So I know NASDAQ is big. I was just looking at this alternative last year. D&O Insurance, to be on NASDAQ, it's above $3.5 million US.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. So you need to generate massive revenue to be there. Okay, so that's why it's not as easy as what everybody think. Uplisting in Canada, possibly, but definitely a Europe stock exchange uplisting, that's ideal for us.
Yeah, no, that'd be huge. Also, a related question from Luca: is there an update on ESG rating?
Luca, good question. We are onboarding. I told you already. I told the investor world already that we're going that path. This is highly demanded by the DFIs that we've met last week. And as of such, we're in the hiring process with the consultant that we talked about. To get to an ISG rating, that's a different story. An ISG rating needs to be given by the body that lends you money. On this side, we will put all the framework together within the company to support environmental and social governance
Yeah.
processes within NuRAN. Rating, we don't know yet how. I don't know yet how it works, but we will put everything together to
No,
reach that
because
stage.
yeah, I mean, I think you have, which is so there's a couple of catalysts I think built into the stock, which is this ESG aspect, which could
Yes.
really increase. I mean, that the European list, those are sort of like cosmetic things which can double or triple the valuation. Because now look, this is a perfect ESG stock because look, what you're doing is this is not just some like climate thing, which is theoretical. I know maybe there is climate change. There is there's a debate, right? But
Yeah.
when you're putting in communications in these rural villages, you're literally changing people's lives. I mean, you're changing the quality of their life. They get jobs. They can earn an income. They get health care. You're extending their lives. I mean, I mean, all of a sudden, it completely, changes things for them. So that is, I think, a much more relevant thing for any these ESG investors than investing in some climate change thing, which is I don't know, so whatever, I don't know, wind power. This is the real thing, which there's an immediate impact on millions of people's lives. So it'd be a huge thing.
Agree.
AZ's, are there any plans to partner with satellite companies like Eutelsat?
So we're using Eutelsat because it was a signed deal already in Cameroon for the first 120 sites. Spacecom, the deals that we have with them is that everywhere they have a beam, they have the first right of refusal of the service, the bandwidth. Okay, so this is the deal we have with them. And Jack, this is part of the private placement we've done last summer, where $4 million as lead investor was brought by Emo Spacecom, the Israeli VSAT company. They came in as a partner, but also to reach an exclusive agreement with us. But it does not prevent us to work with a Eutelsat, for example, should we go in a country where Emo Spacecom doesn't have beam. Talking about Latin America, Spacecom is not in the picture. So we might cut a deal, and there's I'm going to MWC, the biggest telecom show, in 2 weeks, and we have a lot of meetings scheduled already with Eutelsat, Intelsat, Telesat, Viasat, everything sat. They want to talk to us because we are a vehicle of growth for these guys. So of course they will be interested. Francis, what can I do for you? Even the equipment side. So it's obvious that especially the one that will succeed, us, and we have another competitor that is doing good as well in this market. But there's a lot of room for the two of us, if not a third one or something like this. But bottom line, these guys want to onboard us ASAP, and they are willing to cut big checks to get that business from us. So yes, there are definitely discussion along those lines. Eutelsat, they're good partners, based in France, really close to Orange. So it would have been a natural version. But they, when we were negotiating to get some lead investor in the private placement, they have already invested in a low orbit satellite company called OneWeb, if I recall correctly, something like that. So their investment portfolio was full, but we don't neglect the fact that they could be part of the deal going forward in Latin America.
Okay, another question. Thinking of LitecellxG, does this new product allow us to target semi-rural or suburban
Yes,
areas? Okay.
just because of the technology, but because it's a 10 watt output power, the reach is not that big. And if you go and put those products close to a 20 watt output power, Huawei or Ericsson base station, then their signal is stronger than yours. So yes, you could come back close to suburban areas and some semi rural areas, but at the end of the day, we will go in sweet spot where we are not killed by the interference caused by other solution. But in those places, a 10 watt output power is sufficient. But David Parson is also working now with the team on a 20 watt version, and we do not neglect the fact to potentially use somebody else's technology, because we are a service provider now. So we have those products. If the product doesn't fill the customer needs, we'll acquire it from somewhere else. That's it, period. So we've changed our mindset now. We will continue to maintain our R&D to build new products. But bottom line, if we need something else to serve our client, we'll do.
Okay, so bottom line is, NuRAN, you have a clear path to, potentially a $20 stock price that's based on, and this is in the near term, next few years, just based on the existing contract that you have with Orange to get the 2,500 sites, which could generate, $5 million a month. That's, $60 million a year. We've talked about the multiples. That's 10x plus revenues based on the comps, and that basically translates to $20 a share. You got news, right? In other words, you have the deployments starting to scale up. So we should start to see, I guess, more news flow as more of these sites start going up. We should kind of move closer to that $20 stock price, hopefully.
Sky is the limit.
Last question. Okay, we'll ask last question, and then okay. So, any plans to keep selling NuRAN's product outside of the network as a service model to other companies?
For the one that we have served until now, the answer is yes, we'll do, but not if these guys have the ability to compete what we do for the same same countries.
Okay.
But yes, the one that we've started serving a while back, we will continue to do so. Why? Because the equipment in the core network, to change this and to switch to another vendor, it's complicated, and we understand that. So we've got partners like Infratel, Tonji Alabi in Nigeria, that is currently deploying our OC2G in a couple of places. We've got who else? GCS. It's mostly in Nigeria though. So yes, we will continue to serve some, but we're no longer running after opportunities at this stage to sell our product.
Okay. Francis, what kind of news flow should investors expect to see from NuRAN in the next 30 days? What's in the pipeline?
I like the other CEO response. No, we can't. No, it's an ongoing flow. So we have a lot of new sites that will become live. Of course, we have the live site counter on our website that people can follow, but it's not everybody that goes there. So we will, of course, inform people from, let's say, a bi-weekly PRs on the status of the delivery of sites. But of course, we are getting close to probably resolution in some cases. We've been chasing RFPs with Orange, with MTN. We're also chasing other opportunity, and of course, some of them will come to fruition. So we can expect probably some of these news coming in. We are going to Mobile World Congress, as I said, from the 28th of February to the 3rd of March. So most of the time when you go to these shows, the big guns are there, and this is where decisions are being made. So fingers crossed that we can aim to get some announcement in the course of the show or just after the show, and so forth. So we will continue to maintain the connection with our shareholders, and increasing value for the company. So we maintain pace there, and we will get this 10,000 sites achievement or milestone sooner than later.
Okay, excellent. Francis, I want to thank you, and we look forward to hearing more about the next big deployment, the network rollout in the coming weeks.
Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining our live stream. We will see you on the next one.
Bye.